In this video, I'm going to look at the net present value function NPV and the internal rate of return function IRR. So up here, we've got some income projections for the next 5 years, increase in income projections actually for the next 5 years if this business builds a new manufacturing plant. Down here you have the cumulative net cash flow, which shows how long it's going to take to start seeing a positive return on that investment. And as you can see, that's going to happen in year 4. So net present value has to do with the time value of money, and the reasoning behind it is that if you have a given amount of money today in your pocket, for example $100, it's going to be worth more than $100 that you might obtain in 6 months or a year. And the reasoning behind that is I could take that $100 and invest it somehow and make some money with it. Whereas the money that I would receive in 6 months or a year, I would not be able to do that at this time. So the net present value function I'm going to insert into cell B11, and it's just NPV. And I have my discount rate or desired rate of return here of 12%, and that's a number that the business owner has picked. That's what she would like to see as the return on building this new plant. So that's my first argument in this function. And my second argument is this series of increases in income, or series of cash flows. So I'm going to go ahead and select B6 through F6 and press enter. And because this investment is being made right now, initially, to calculate the actual net present value, I'm going to take this number and subtract it from subtract the initial investment from it, basically. So I'm going to just add those two together, A6 plus B11. Because A6 is negative, it has the same result as subtracting. And the net present value then is $46,483 in that cell. So that's the amount of money that we're going to make on this investment over a 5-year period, or that's how much more this $300,000 is worth now than it would be in 5 years. Okay, so if you refer to page 532 in your textbook, there is a text box at the top of the page that discusses how to set up the net present value function for an investment that's made immediately and an investment that is made at the end of the first payment period. And you will find this handy for completing case problem 3 at the end of the chapter. There's also information about the internal rate of return. And the internal rate of return has to do with the amount of risk involved with the investment. And so for an investment of a higher amount, I guess, or a higher risk, would have a larger internal rate of return. And I'm just going to change the desired rate of return here a couple of times. There it is at 9%, but what happens if I change that to 20%? If I change it to 20%, all of a sudden I'm in a position where I have a negative net present value, which I don't want. So you can see that playing with those discount rates has an impact on the rate of return. And the internal rate of return can be defined as the point at which the net present value equals 0. So we're going to go ahead and calculate the internal rate of return for this investment. And so I'm just going to enter the function equal IRR. And I'm going to select the income projections plus the initial investment for this one. And that gives us an internal rate of return of 16.3%. So that would be the point at which our investment starts becoming, or our net present value starts becoming negative. So that is, those are the net present value and internal rate of return functions.